police responded to a 911 call.
Dramatic video of gun insanity in the Bronx.
Police releasing a new video of a person that they are still trying to track down.
Defund the police is not the answer.
Many people surveyed said they just don't feel safe in the city.
It's a shooting outside of a store.
This is Bo Dietl's One Tough Podcast.
Police this morning are searching for the person who turned this Harlem platform to a crime scene.
A Red Apple Media Podcast Network production. Now, here's Bo Dietl.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Bo Dietl's One Tough Podcast. Before we get into it, I got something new for us this week. A lot of people are asking me questions. So what I did, I set up an email address. You can send any questions you want, anything you want to know about. And here's the email address. Jot it down. It's ASKBO, B-O, SBO, at investigations, with an S.com. That's askbo at investigations.com. You just tell me whatever's on your mind, whatever you want me to do, I'll try and answer everybody's request, okay? All right, let's get right into it now. You know, we had this murder conviction that came down on this scumbag guy, Rivera, shooting that beautiful cop, Jonathan Diller. And this genius jury came back with a verdict of manslaughter. Remember, this is a guy that brought a gun out, shot a cop, and the gun jammed. He tried to shoot the other cop. 21-time offender. He shot him dead. Now, Officer Diller and his beautiful family have to suffer with realizing that this guy was only convicted of manslaughter. You know, we had the other cop there. I remember Peter Fogosi not too long ago. Another time, he was ambushed, shot, and that jury comes out with the beautiful verdict, like they always do, is manslaughter. I got a little story about manslaughter. Because many years ago, one of my cases, my last case, before I broke my leg skydiving with these abba-dabba-doos, I jumped out of a plane, I broke my leg. Prior to that, I ended up being the arresting officer in the largest mass murder at that time. It was called the Palm Sunday Massacre. I was one of a great team of great detectives, and I was very fortunate to be named as the arresting officer on the case. We went to trial. I had broken my leg. I went to trial. I was on crutches. I testified. I wouldn't let this scumbag get away. But guess what? Here's what happened. He came into a house with people he knew. He systematically put a bullet in everyone's head. 10 people. 8 of them were children under the age of 12 years old. We found a little 18-month-old baby that was hiding under the bed, and that was the end. And they were convicted of manslaughter. This jury came. This guy's been out over 8 or 10 years already, but that just shows you what manslaughter is all about. We're talking about now that this little scumbag that killed Officer Diller, they're going to give him 90 years. 90 years, my ass. You know what 90 years means? This guy will probably be out in 20. I got to go over some of these cases where they give these sentences for cop killers. There's between 75 and 85 NYPD officers been killed since 1970. Okay? Approximately 33 were involved, NYPD victims. These releases stem from intermediary sentences. Like, in other words, 25 to life. You think that's 25 to life? No. Here's a couple of examples that I brought out. Herman Bell, Black Liberation Army, 1971. Ambush murders of police officer Waverly Jones and Joseph Piagentina. He was paroled in 2018. They assassinated these two. One was black and one was white. I had just came on the force. I remember this case. Anthony Bottom. That's 1991. Sentenced to 25 to life. Okay, he's paroled in 2020. Here we go. What is this life without parole? Here, Robert Hayes, Black Liberation Army, 1973 killing of transit patrolman Sidney Thompson, sentenced 25 to life. He was paroled in 2018. Here we go. Scott Cobb, getaway driver in the murder of 1988. Remember Edward Burns, that young cop in Jamaica who was bodyguarding a witness that they assassinated in the car? He got 25 years to life. Guess what? He got out in 2023. Alexandria Evans, 1986, robbery murder of Officer James Holmes, sentenced to 32 to life, not even 25. I don't know when they come up to 32. He was paroled in 2023. Here we go, a couple more. Here, Ernest Lee Walker, 1984 murder of Officer Juan Indino, sentenced 25 to life. Guess what? He's out 2025. That's another sentence, 25 to life. Here's your life. Now we have one more. Crazy Sal DeSarno. And I knew the officer he killed. And his name was Cecil Sledge. And he ran him over, dragged him several blocks. He was sentenced to 25 to life. I'm laughing because this is what we're talking about. Yeah, he was denied parole as of 2026. But they said there's going to be another emergency hearing at the end of this March of 2026. He could be out by now. Maybe when I leave the studio, he'll be having lunch downstairs. Other cases went on and on. You had several cases, and a lot of these cases got the sentence. Now, when we're talking about police officer Dilla, his murdering scumbag guy, he's going to get 90 years, they said. It ain't going to happen. And this is the problem. And also, whose fault? It's these legislature, the assemblymen, the state senators, all these scumbag liberals, including my friend Andrew Cuomo, who signed off on a lot of the releasing of these cop killers. How damn you do that? You know, how dare you do that? These officers are out there putting their lives on the line. Okay, so now we're talking about, we go back to this, what's happening right now. What we learned about this 25 years to life is it doesn't happen. So let's go right to the guy that I really don't like. And I'm sorry to say that. I like to get along with everybody. Mayor Mondumi. And now all of a sudden he's got some new stuff going on. He just brought in this guy named Nathan Gosroff for the city budget office. Now, the city budget office is supposed to be, they're supposed to count the numbers and all that, but he didn't do that. It's not supposed to be a political office. It's supposed to be non-political. So he brings this jerk-off in who's one of his DSA guys, and then all of a sudden they're hiring as many as he can. We're talking about the city running out of money, but yet Mondumi, here we go, he added 79 new staffers at the cost of $10 million. It comes with City Hall. This is during this massive budget gap. He doesn't care. Here's some new positions. I love these names. Economic Justice Enforcer, $200,000. Senior Advisor for Legislature Advocacy. I have no idea what the hell it means. Another $150,000. Senior Advisor for Fast and Free Buses, $180,000. Senior Project Manager, Child Care Expansion, $150,000. It goes on and on. And listen to me, we know one thing. We know they're going to get appointed when all of a sudden you look and you look and you look at their social media, and all of a sudden the social media comes down. That means Mondumi's going to hire him. And you can watch it, what I just said. All of a sudden, all the negative stuff, the anti-Semitic stuff, anything they've said, it's not on their social media anymore. They know how to clean that up. All right. Now, the city council, this Menon, city council president, I think she's doing a pretty good job, because all of a sudden the city council pushed back on Mondumi, where he wants all these taxes. The city council drops the $127 million budget with no tax hikes, no cuts. Direct clash with Mondumi. He don't know what to do because he can't veto what they're saying. For once, the city council standing strong against them. And they feel as though they could close this $6 billion gap. Here are some of the things that they mentioned about. $1.5 billion from refinancing of pension obligation, $1+ billion over 2 years, reducing the tax credit for high-income business owners from 100% down to 75%. $860 million by adjusting payroll projections to account for vacant city jobs. $775 million by 2027 from unexpected changes to state school aid. Additional smaller revenue, $17 million from the Brooklyn Bridge vaultings, renting them out. They got vaults underneath the Brooklyn Bridge where we could be earning money for the city. $10 million a year from licensing vendors in the city parks. Let them pay a little bit too. $1 million a year from hire for the yachts. When they bring the yachts in, they could charge them more money. That's where the city council say they would get the money. And, again, with Mondami, we didn't hear a word out of him. We didn't hear a word about that little 7-month-old little girl. What was her name? Coriori Patterson Moore, shot in the head, killed. And all of a sudden, not a peep out of Mondami. Oh, yeah, he did speak about it. And you know what he talked about it? He talked about gun control again. How about the gun doesn't kill people, Mondami? The person pulls the trigger. You're a fool. Yeah. Now, his leaderless Mondami, listen to this one. He stays silent on a lot of issues, but these are important issues. He was silent about the NYPD officer's Diller's jury finding. Not say a word. He accepted the fact of manslaughter, knowing it's his intentional murder of one of his cops. Never did he come out and say anything. He never said anything to police officer Diller's widow's pain after the bad verdict. I mean, a common sense, good mayor would go and communicate with the widow and say, I'm so sorry about this jury verdict, but you don't got it in you. All you have in you is that smile, that nasty smile. And then he was very silent and never had a word. How about that Air Force guy, Richard Williams? 83 years old, lived this life, 83 years old, a veteran by this Honduran piece of garbage, illegal migrant, deported 4 times, and all of a sudden, he had a rap sheet with at least 15 charges. At the same time, Mondami put together a city office to keep people safe from ICE. You know what that means? Mondami put a bunch of guys out there that will not allow a criminal migrant who commits a violent felony. They won't allow him to turn it over to ICE. Why, Mondami? Why don't you want to get rid of these criminals? And it goes on. And when we saved that second pilot, the great job our armed forces did that was shot down in Iran, not one time did I hear a peep out of Mondami about, are you American? I don't know what you are, Mondami. You wouldn't say congratulations to the great armed forces of America saving that pilot from being captive by the Iranians that would have definitely killed him. Why didn't you come out and say what a great job the American armed forces did? Because it ain't in you. You don't care about America. You care about one thing, that stupid smile you got. And you know what? The other thing, you never said a word when they changed the law on hate crimes against Jews after 182% increase the last month, and you changed the laws. And it goes on. And you kept silent also. Silent on J.P. Morgan Chase. My friend, Jamie Dimon, I just spoke to him last week. I know him for a lot of years. We didn't talk too much about nonsense. I was trying to invite him out to dinner up in Rails with me, but he said, Bo, I don't like to get out into the public like that. He had a lot of other things on his mind, but I never mentioned to him. But he came out and he warned Mayor Mondami about everyone leaving and raising the taxes and all that. And then when the Apollo Group, $900 billion company, said they're going to leave and maybe go to Texas, you know what he said? Nothing. On top of it, the partnership for the city of New York, the business, he told Mondumi, this increases in taxes will make New York City people leave, the business people that is supporting all our services and all that. He was so silent when he assumes he thought that Wall Street would have a bad year. You know what? They didn't. And a lot of them are leaving. And you know what? Even my friends, I have a guy who works for me, black guy, been with many, many years. He's a homeowner in Bedford-Stuyvesant. He is crazy. He said most of the black homeowners are going crazy with his proposed 9.2% tax on property tax. These are people, jerk off, people that work every day to pay their taxes. You want to take what little they have away and make them pay taxes. And you know what? All of a sudden, genius. Oh, we're going to make it $30 an hour minimum wage. That's another bullcrap thing. You don't know what you're talking about because you're an immature, ignorant child. I'm not that educated, but I know a fool when I see one. And Mondumi, you fit the bill. And your big campaign promises. Let's go a little bit about that. How about the community safety program for the mentally ill? He couldn't get the funding for that. So then all of a sudden, he had 2 employees there, and they're making $300,000 each, and they're trying to figure out what this is, this community thing. He wants to put $1 billion. Who they are, where they're going to get them, what's their job. You don't even know what you're doing. These are your campaign promises. How about you vowed during the campaign with this, that's what it was called, the Department of Community Safety. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. And on top of it, we have right now for mentally ill, we're spending $1 million a day. Mondumi, I'll give you some numbers for the street homeless outreach problem. It disappears into these community nonprofits. Why don't you look at where all this money goes? And they do nothing. And they look all over the streets, and our streets are full of homeless, having sex, doing drugs. This is New York City under you, Mondumi. And then all of a sudden, the DSA patronage jobs, all the people you hire, these are all the DSA people, Democratic Social of America. That's all you care about. Hey, we remember we had another homeless thing with your Gambade there, Big Bird de Blasio, $1 billion, Operation Thrive. Remember him and his wife there? We still don't know what happened to that $1 billion. You know what? The Democrats are starting to get a little nervous. Even this guy, Rahm Emanuel, I think he was the mayor of Chicago once, but he was a big Democrat guy. And he's calling out, he can't understand where the Democratic Party is going. He speaks out about education. He says half our kids can't read or write, and they can't read and write grade levels. Gavin Newsom, this other freak from California, was responsible for many people dying in fires and property in California. He comes up and he goes, the party needs to be more normal. Yeah, first ones you should get rid of AOC and all these liberals, including Muck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries. Hey, they want to be more left. So there's going to be a big dividing in the Democratic Party. And you want to know something? I have not seen anyone that fits the bill to be a moderate. They're all to the left. They all want to jump on the bandwagon of AOC or this Democratic Socialists of America. This is America. This ain't a socialist country. And you want to know something? People, don't get blinded by this. We've got to keep strength for one thing, for our country. This is not a Muslim or socialist country. This is a country of all Americans, and that's the way it is. So now, ICE arrests Soleimani. Remember him? He was the one that was killing all our soldiers over in Iraq. Big scumbag, piece of garbage. But my man, President Trump, went in there and blew his ass up. And now his niece and her other friends, they had green cards, and they putting on their social media how much they hate America and how much they support Iran. So all of a sudden, my friend, Secretary of State Marco Secretary of State Mark Rubio came and revoked their green cards. Bye-bye. Go back to Tehran. Have fun. We don't need you in America. Okay. Now, this is a little bit about the state now. Governor Snaggletooth Hochul is considering $1.5 billion union deal with giving them an early retirement at 55 with full pensions now. Taxpayer guarantee, another one. It affects teachers, of course, because she sucks up to all the unions. Public workers hired after 2012. Also cuts pension contributions from 4.5 to 3.5. New York City alone could get hit with $328 million in added costs. She's another genius here. Proposal to let's workers stop paying for their pensions. Excuse me, after 10 years, I got to choke on this one. So you stop paying into your pensions after 10 years. Well, who's going to pay for your pension? Us? They say it's about recruitment. But again, there's no data to back up all these stupid proposals. It's going to cost billions more for taxpayers already footing the bill. And we're all going to leave. Everybody's going to leave. I'm looking around down in Florida. The East Coast, the West Coast, any coast is better than New York. I thought I'd never say this. I am getting fed up with it. Oh, here's another winner here. $22 million in salaries. This is $22 million for salaries for the, what do you call that? The NYC. These is the home things in New York City. Their executives are pulling in, the executives of NYC are pulling in $22 million. 74 are making over $200,000 a year. The CEO, Lisa Bova Hayat, is making just under $400,000. Meanwhile, all the tenants in NYC, New York City Housing Authority, they ain't getting heat. There's 244,000 complaints for repairs, and the executive pay has doubled since 2015. They're doing such a freaking good job. And then we see my friend, my nemesis, Big Bird de Blasio. Remember me, Big Bird? Yeah, I ran against you. You had me knocked off my line. I tried to run as a Democrat. You had your boys in your pocket from the Board of Elections. You threw me off the line on some nonsense, some crap, some checking of a box. You should be ashamed of yourself. But you know what? Your true colors are always there, you and your wife. Now, all of a sudden, you went to Colombia with your commie girlfriend. And I tell you what, you were there with the anti-American Sigmund Code Pink. Remember this Sigmund guy, this billionaire guy? He joined an emergency conference to defend democracy and peace in the America. You don't know what you're talking about, you fool. The only thing you know about is stealing money from New York City. Billionaire Sigmund, this is the American citizen who lives in China, who funds anti-ICE, anti-Jewish, anti-cop socialists, and he is totally against anything that the Homeland Security does. And his wife, Sigmund's wife, she runs a thing called the Sigmund Funds. It's a pro-China Code Pink that protests against everything that President Trump tries to do and disrupts congressional meetings. These are the people that are around here. You're listening to Bo Dito's One Tough Podcast. Please stay tuned with this message, and we'll be right back. Thank you. Oh, Governor Hochul, guess what happened to you? Sorry to hear this. All of a sudden, your running mate, Lieutenant Governor Andrea Adams, funneled $435,000 to migrant shelters here. The feds indict $1.3 million. I've been talking about these migrant funds all the time. The FBI took the phones of the Democratic Party's insiders in Brooklyn. Now we have, here's an example, Fort New York City Security, a company tied to retired Sergeant Eduardo St. Fort, I don't know this guy, received more than $7 million in no-bid city shelter security contracts. Much of it were no-bid most of it, no bid. And I was told he didn't even have a security guard license when it was first awarded. And then all of a sudden, this old company pops up. Remember in some of my shows I told you about, they came to me, my friend Eric Adams' people, all his top lieutenants. They wanted me to do security for the centers, for the migrant centers, for the homeless shelters. They said to me, Bo, you could charge $119 an hour. I said, what? Normally, it's no more than $37,000, $38,000 an hour for an unarmed security guard. Next thing is they said, but then you have to give 20%. And this pops up, Gardner Security in Texas. What the hell is that? That was the consultant firm. And now it's popping up again. So this has got, let me tell you, you want to find who stole, there was, I think, $7 billion in migrant no-bid contracts. Remember the Roosevelt Hotel? And no one knows why, how all these new bid contracts happen. All you got to do is follow the money. If you want to hire me, Governor Schnageltooth Hochul, I'll look into all these things. I know the U.S. Attorney's Office is looking into them. How about this city? Hey, excuse me, Mondummy, you want some money? Why don't you have your Department of Investigation investigate those no-bid contracts if you got any balls? But you know what? You love the corruption, like the corruption that happens in Minneapolis, Minnesota, with all these Somalians. It's just rob, take from Medicare, take from Medicaid, just rob. And you know what? It's all about one thing right now. Even my friend Eric Adams, this other guy, Frank Carone, he was on the radio this morning. I know Frank Carone. Frank, you better be careful. Keep looking over your shoulder. What you did wrong, God sees it all. And I see you were indicted on some kind of federal investigation on insurance fraud. That could be the tip of the iceberg, Frank. You know, you live down Florida. Maybe you should stay there. But then again, we do have extradition down here. Okay, the Board of Elections, they come true. They block Bruce Blakeman from getting matching funds. I wonder how that happens. Why did that happen? I'll tell you why. Because the Democrats control the Board of Elections like they did with me when they threw me off my friggin' Democratic line. Corruption personified. Okay, now we're going to go into this. Like I said, I want people to understand. I come here and do my show every week. I highlight things. People say, Bo, you're going to get sued. I want to get sued. You know why I want to get sued? Because I want through discovery me to show what I know and where all this money went. So if you want to sue me, come and sue me. I got plenty of money and plenty of lawyers. My problem right now is people. We're going down real fast. This city is turning into a toilet bowl. I love this city. I'm crying out loud. Remember, if you want to ask any questions, I set up this website. It's Bo, B-O, askbo at investigationswithanas.com. And I'm going to tell you something. I'll be going through all these emails that you send in. And any questions you want, believe me, nobody can hide from me. Because when you do something wrong, I'm the detective still, and I'll get you, and I'll bring it up, and I'll publicize it, and I'll take the scab off the saw. Till next week, tune in to Bo Dietl's One Tough Podcast. Tell your friends. Thank you.